As a kid, everyone loves zoos and aquariums, but as they grow up, opinions change. As they become more involved with the media and can understand what some things mean, people hold different views. Hi, my name is Alexandria Tushup, and I will be talking to you about the Association of Zoos and Aquariums and why it holds an important place in today's world. The Association of Zoos and Aquariums is a non-profitable organization that only holds important research in the environments and animals, but they also assist in saving thousands of animals each year by supporting zoos and aquariums globally. Not only does the company teach and strive to reach the nation, but also the animals are an important aspect of everything they do as a company. AZA represents over 200 zoos and aquariums across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Zoos and aquariums are some of the most important companies that thrive in the world because of the things that they contribute to animals and every animal's environment. Some people believe that zoos and aquariums are bad and exploit their animals and employees for money. Zoos and aquariums do not use the money that they receive for their own good. In fact, they use it for the animals' good. The Association of Zoos and Aquariums is an essential organization to some zoos because they support what they are meant to do, save and protect animals. The existence of zoos and aquariums are essential for some animals' survival. It is proven that some animals held in captivity cannot be released into the wild because they are too dependent on human care. For example, in 2003, a killer whale named Kiko died in the open ocean because he was released into the wild from being held under human care for a majority of his life. The trainers and veterinarians trained and adapted him to surviving in the wild and made sure that he was fit enough to survive on his own. Although he did die of natural causes and he was successful in the wild for many months, there was a point where he could no longer survive on his own due to an anomia. Kiko was so dependent on human care at one point of his life that when he became ill in the wild, he was unable to heal himself. Not only are some animals incapable of being released back into their natural habitat, but they may have adapted to being in captivity and not been exposed to everything that is in their natural environment. Captive exotic animals are released and can ultimately mess up the ecosystem and can also affect humans if they do happen to survive. According to onegreenplanet.org, exotic species that have been in captivity at one point in their life have reintroduced into the wild, like the red lionfish, Burmese python, and green iguana, have done more harm than good because they've become invasive. The red lionfish has no natural predators. The Burmese python is responsible for the decline in bobcats, rabbits, and opossum species, and the green iguana affects humans by growing very large, and they are aggressive around humans when feeling threatened. However, they are clearly good at survival. It has made a decline in important species. By these exotic animals being held in human possession, they created a change in the ecosystem. The animals that thrive in zoos are a resource for research done in the wild and encourage people around the world to contribute as well. Having exotic and non-exotic animals in captivity gives scientists, veterinarians, and researchers a unique insight on how the species operates, which can overall impact the wild animals. The AZA and other national renowned universities and organizations conduct many different experiments that carry out procedures only to benefit the wilderness. Through all of the research done that they pursue, many discoveries have been about wild species that have been found that otherwise would not be able to have been done on these wild species. Companies such as SeaWorld have been able to complete research on their killer whales. Through the available controlled environment and the research done on these whales at SeaWorld, they have discovered patterns of vocalization, sleep, and reproduction to better understand the animals. AZA-accredited facilities train more than 40,000 employees a year and provide hands-on opportunities for students who might otherwise have no hands-on experience with wildlife. More than 50 million visitors to the AZA-accredited zoos and aquariums are children, making accredited zoos and aquariums essential to science and environmental education. The one role that all these faculties have in common is that they all have a main focus of conservation. Conservation is a priority for AZA-accredited zoos and aquariums because they play a part of their missions. The AZA-accredited zoos and aquariums are leaders to the protection of threatened and endangered species. People who fight against the existence of these zoos and aquariums tend to ignore the extraordinary benefits of conservation. Every year, AZA-accredited zoos and aquariums spend over $160 million on field conservation alone, supporting more than 2,600 projects in 130 countries. Through zoos and aquariums were originally created to satisfy people's curiosity. Their main mission is conservation. SeaWorld, an AZA accredited company, thrives in conservation. SeaWorld has taken extraordinary benefits to conserve a variety of marine and wildlife, including sea turtles, marine mammals, birds, wallabies, and many more. The efforts SeaWorld puts into conservation have led to advances in the care of animals in both zoological facilities and wild populations around the world. Depopulating marine parks of charismatic megavertebrates will have a profoundly negative impact on the conservation of imperiled wildlife species. It's a quote from SeaWorld. If SeaWorld were to stop their conservation program, it would have a dramatic effect on the wildlife. Not only do they support companies that thrive in the industry of conservation, but they also have a critical role to play in helping people understand how they can protect animals and their natural habitats. According to the Oakland Zoo, another AZA accredited company, 79% of the people feel better about companies that support wildlife conservation at zoos and aquariums, and 60% say they are more likely to buy products and services from those companies in order to assist research and conservation. The animals featured in the wild and in captivity would drastically increase due to people simply supporting zoos and aquariums. From the research that is capable of being done, our understanding of animals can increase drastically. Zoos and aquariums would be able to afford more to expand and make habitats more similar to the natural environment. If people were able to support organizations such as the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, the accredited companies would expand drastically and be able to support more research in the wild species. The wild species ultimately would be able to be more understood. Our understanding as of right now is only beginning to grow. Recently, the San Antonio Zoo, another AZA accredited zoo, released a plan to build a catwalk for the jaguars that goes over the guest's head in order to show them how they could act in the wild. Organizations like the AZA inspire others to learn more and preserve. The conservation work that zoos and aquariums do to reach out to the public inspire children to grow up and pursue animals as well as adults. If the public is more aware of what these companies do behind showing off their beloved animals, our understanding of them would increase drastically. Without nonprofit organizations like the AZA, none of this research being done, conservation efforts, or support would be possible. Zoos and aquariums are a very important part of our natural world. They give us an insight to magnificent creatures in life that are not provided with anywhere else. People should strive to protect and support our zoos and aquariums because they do more good than harm. Places like these are a survival ground for our animals that are no longer able to thrive in the wild, and they also provide inspiration for everyone around the world. Zoos and aquariums play a very important role in the industry, would suffer if organizations like the Association of Zoos and Aquariums did not exist. This one particular organization, along with many others, holds the key to animal conservation and rehabilitation. Conservation and rehabilitation can be seen as one of the most important aspects to zoos and aquariums because it gives us an insight to all the wild species in the world. Thank you for listening.